So we back again, at it again with another one. All right, so this what we getting into. We are getting into, just like the title says, we getting into budgeting, we getting into everything. So for us getting into the budget, we got to do this homework. We got to set the tone. We got to make this money. We got to provide. We got to do a lot of stuff for ourselves, and we got to do it in a short amount of time right now. Can someone hear me? Can I get a one in the chat? Can I get a one in the chat? All right. So basically, it's gonna be kind of quick. So I'm gonna try to. Still got my microphone. Okay, I'm good. I see the mic moving now. I don't know if it's loud enough because it's not beaming like normal as it usually is. But might just gotta talk a little louder. Okay, there it goes. All right. So basically, we're gonna get on here real quick. Get on real quick. We're not gonna be in here long. We're gonna try to run down real quick. Morning. All right. So basically, I always talking about different things on my channel, trying to get people motivated to gather their finances, deal with things in their life that pretty much it's inevitable. You got to do it. We can chase the money or we can make the money, do things to benefit us to make us better. Like I always keep saying this and I'm gonna keep reminding, just like the title says, help with life. And I replied, I'll try. So let's get right into it. Let me see if we can go ahead and do some share streams. It's amazing how StreamYard is trying to keep up with things, but they're forever changing, and I like it though. I like it. All right, right here. As people can see, we over here says, all right, so let me try to do this. Let me see, cause I don't know if it's a connection thing or what. Hold on. Am I coming in better now? Can you hear me? Hope I'm not cutting out. I see the headset. I might have to change my headset. But let me dip this down a little more. All right. Let's try to go with this angle right here. All right. So basically, we're at the site of CG Wealth Solution. Um, for those who know, this is the site of Alonzo Hall. You know, Alonzo Hall and life insurance. If you know, you know. And basically, just at the beginning, just briefly, he's doing a one-on-one. Like, what do you know about life insurance? And a lot of people neglect to know certain things. That's why they really don't, get life insurance. That's why they don't really know life insurance as being something that they can use long term, just within the process. This is just brief. I'm not really going to go through this, but over time, you just go check out the site for yourself, um, cgwealth.financial, and you will find all this information for you, and you can gather yourself on pretty much how you want to handle things with your life insurance endeavors. You know, and this is the thing. I'm gonna go through this briefly because they do have this right here, and I want to hit on this with the life insurance. You literally have term life insurance. And basically going into the three, you have the term life insurance. A lot of people deal with, just like it says right here at the top, from term to perm. And term to perm is typically when you have life insurance that you pretty much all right, pretty much when you have the life insurance and you know that so I'm sorry, getting a little confused looking at the chat. Term life insurance is strictly as it says, a term. You will literally have this policy for a term. Some do 10, 20, and 30-year term. And depending on the term, the agreed upon payout if anything was to happen before the term ends. And typically, when you have the term ends, you only collect the money of the cash value of the policy, which you put into it. And some people say, well, how does the insurance company make the money? They budget their money according to the other ways of buying life insurance. That's how they make their money. And I'll explain to this shortly too as well. All right. But basically, if you live out your term, you don't get paid the 30. Let's say somebody do a $100,000 term for 30 years and you're 20 years old. Let's say you're 30. 30-year term at 30, you have to get to 60. Once you get to 60, if you don't die before 60, it doesn't pay out. And let's go for simple math right quick. With simple math, $100, let's say you put it's typically a term is not going to be that high. Let's just say $10 because that'd be simple for a lot of people, you know. And going into $10 a month for a year, that's 120. You take 120 and you go into a 30-year policy, that'll be 3,000 $3,600. So just simple math, you put in $3,600 within 30 years. That's not a lot of money. Even if we would have bumped it up and did $100 a month, basically saying at least two, it would have been what, $36,000. 36,000 is not a lot of money in 30 years. Due to inflation and stuff, you're actually going to lose more than you gain. So be front with that. So just knowing your options, term is okay in my opinion at an older age for people that don't want to pay a lot of money. And you have to understand when you get term at an older age, there's stipulations on how much term you can get in the years. I don't know the pure like numbers going into it, but I'm thinking it's around 60 or so. You can do it a minimum of 20 years. You can't do a 30 year at 60 and so forth. When you get in your 80s, you can do a 10-year. You can't do a 20, so on and so forth. Like I said, I'm not a licensed insurance agent, so you have to contact somebody, preferably Alonzo, that can, inform you and give you more information on this and can help you out. And I can show you at the bottom of this that they do have to where you can ask questions. But the best thing, in my opinion, is for you to actually go on Alonzo's site and to, you know, or go on his YouTube and look through his videos. He have a lot of videos that you can look through that can educate you on life insurance before you make the leap and giving him a call or someone else to buy your life insurance. But Alonzo is real helpful in giving this information. All right, getting into the permanent life insurance, real easy. Permanent life insurance, you just build cash value in this policy. A lot of people typically it's at a standard rate, you know, same as the term. You have up to 30 years, but this one it doesn't flex to 10 and 20 and all this stuff to a degree. And this permanent life is typically called whole life with a lot of people. And you dealing with whole life, you can actually borrow money off of this. And just say the least that a lot of times people don't understand that when you're getting life insurance, you're buying life insurance. You're not buying death insurance. Death insurance they have is called burial insurance. The burial insurance covers your plot. Burial insurance covers your your funeral arrangements, and most of the time it covers your repast. Is all included. And the thing about this with your whole life, you can use it while you're alive, typically perm, but you can use it while you're alive and you can reap the benefits of this policy. And a lot of times people don't understand. So once again, like I said, get in contact with an agent, and the agent can best help you. Universal life insurance. To a degree, a lot of people don't understand this one because they look at it as a, what is it called? A U, um, not a UTI, IUL. Most people look at the universal as an IUL, and with this policy, it's real flexible. It gives you a lot of options. It gathers you way more money than a permanent or whole life insurance, which people call it, that can help you benefit yourself long term. So, like I said, this policy, you have different vehicles you can jump in and grab with this one. Just like the 401k, you can option into your S&P, going off the S&P, and it gives you more interest. Plus, you're looking at getting a high percentage every month. You know, typically depending on the rate, anywhere from 4 to 7% of your money. Some of them is going up to 10 now, and a lot of people, you start doing the math. It's better than your money sitting in a bank. Typically, you having money where you want to save long term for something. In my opinion, life insurance is the best option to doing this for retirement, but they do have retirement insurance too as well. And that's another thing people want to look at is plus, because if you're single or married, it doesn't matter. Long-term care provides you with, the proper care for someone to come take care of you. If you and your spouse is older, that long-term care kicks in and take care of both of you guys. So like I said, once again, shout out to Alonzo. Alonzo have this information on the site. Let me go back and pull this up so you guys can see it as well, because they do have long-term care as being an option. And let's go down to long-term care. I'm spending way too much time on. I have a whole bunch of other, but like I said, sometimes I get into the life insurance and want to just get into it. But long-term care basically helps you far as your finance, your medical bills, and hello to everybody coming in. A lot of ways. Long-term care helps with your family, because most of the time, and I always talk about this with my great grandmother telling me about getting life insurance and everybody in the family getting it. You don't want to be a burden to people. So, with being a burden to people, getting life insurance put you in a situation to where you're ready and able to, help your family, help your friends, help yourself most of all. Because getting into situations, there's a lot of family members that have lives, have kids. I was looking at this one situation where the lady said that when a grandma went into the hospital and she was in Texas, but the whole family was in Chicago, they have a group text to where everybody's taking turn watching over the grandmother, and someone's gonna watch on Tuesday, someone's gonna watch on Thursday. Grandma had like about 8 or 9 kids, and those 8 or 9 kids had kids, and she was a grandchild of the grandmother. So she was looking like, oh man, my grandma have so many people that could come help the grandkids, me. But she was in Texas, and she was looking at it like, well, I'm in Texas. Who's gonna come watch me if anything happens to me? You have friends, you have neighbors, but to a degree, it's to a sense of not being obligated to do it, just like your family does. And so typically ranging, it was a situation to where this woman, she was saying basically, well, who am I going to depend on? Who am I going to help me with this? I don't know. And see, this is where long-term care steps in as your provider, for giving you the solution. If you're not married, you have a nurse to come in and check on you and sit with you amongst time. Like I said, depending on the range of what how you structure your policy, you can have a nurse come sit with you for 8 hours every day. That's all the company most people need, you know, from breakfast to lunch, and they have a meal prepared for you for dinner. If you can do it yourself, if not, they'll have someone come give you your dinner, or you can have 24-hour care, depending on the money that you have. Honestly speaking, they have nursing homes that are crazy in price. Literally, I went to a nursing home where I had to move this lady out. Um, well, I'm sorry, not move her out, but move her things out because she had passed. And the thing of it was, with her family, she literally had an apartment in the nursing home. And when I say an apartment, she had a two-bedroom apartment in the nursing home. All her food was being delivered to her. She had a kitchen. She can cook her own food. But if she didn't want to cook, they would deliver her food from the kitchen downstairs. They will have like people come up if she wanted to, come sit and talk with her, come around, do their rounds, check on everybody in the rooms, making sure they're doing okay. Like I said, this nursing home, I think she was paying about $4,000 a month. She had the option. She had it to where someone would come check on her every so often, would come sit and talk with her, bring her food if she didn't want to cook. She just give the call down there to the kitchen, and 9 times out of 10, depending on what scale that you had up under this nursing home, they will prepare the food that you want versus giving you the food that that is there for that day. Typically, is there for that day, but money talks in those cases. But I'm gonna go ahead and swing off of this right here, and we're gonna get into something else because I want to go ahead and move off of this. I want to try to hurry up and be off of here, which not gonna be by 9 o'clock. Looking at 9:30 then. All right, so let's going on to our next option on which we're gonna do. Let's stop the share screen on this one and bring up another screen. All right, so that is going to, let's see, this one. All right, going into the budget. Typically, a lot of people have issue with saving money. So, trying to work it to where this can be a thing to help people in their budgeting process. You know, Mint has always been a one that I've used a lot, and now they have Mint Mobile. It's kind of confusing to that degree. A lot of times, people using the same. Um, we have different apps that can help us, and these are a few of the apps that can help. The crazy Pocket Guide. I'm not familiar with that one, but I know they have another one with not Pocket. What is it? Pocket Mortgage or Rocket Mortgage or something like that. To the degree, so like I said, all of them get confusing over time. But Mint has always been the one that I've used. Um, They have another one that's upcoming, and I actually took a screenshot of that. I was going to actually do some work into there too as well. Lisa J, I watched you over there dealing with Miss V yesterday, and that was it's pretty interesting. I caught the tail end because when I get around on Saturdays and Sunday, if I'm not doing no work, I'm kind of sitting the phone down dealing with the kids, and I'll go back to it every once in a while. But yeah, I haven't finished the video. I'm gonna go back and finish it up later on. But yeah, men has always been pretty good by me. Use it a lot, you know, use it for several years. Now I'm doing the paper, writing things down. And Mint has always been pretty secure on the way that I've done things and used it. This one YNAB. I haven't really been too familiar about this one. Um, overall, I just seen it in this search, so I'm gonna have to go look that one up. Let me skip the. Oh well, go to the good budget. I've done good budget. I've looked at the process on good budget. It's decent. Um, I've seen YouTube videos talking about it. And a lot of these, there's a lot of YouTube videos on the reviews form. You can check them out, and they give a lot of good information, the do's and the don'ts, pros and cons. So this is a good thing about dealing with these apps. You literally have reference to where people been using these apps for a minute so they can give you their honest opinion. Typically when you have most YouTube videos, they're kind of paid sponsors, but then you have the ones that when you're dealing with the pros and the cons, they're just giving you the overall, best information that they do. Um, every dollar, essentially, I dealt with that app. It was up and down, but it was more or less saving, giving you mindsets, keeping your mind on track, things you want to do, and enhancing your knowledge to a degree. And goes along with the next one, the Empower Personal Wealth. Same thing. I go through that one every once in a while. Just look, because it gets to be kind of troublesome when you're trying to figure out all these apps and stuff. And you know Pocket Guard, I'm just going to stop with that one. But you can see on the list of other ones, and go do your research for yourself. But overall, it tends to get kind of worrisome when you're trying to use this app for this one, this app for that. Sometimes they have the one-stop shop for everything, but mainly it's according to what you want to do, how you want to do, you know and that's the key. April Showers, I didn't want to skip you, Miss April. And that's just the key in dealing with these apps. You can set the tone to actually do whatever you want, and to get a budget, stick to your budget, and make it work for you. And going into that, Lisa, you actually jumped the gun on that one for me. uh it is now this one, share. And this is mainly what a lot of people, you know, use. Let me blow this up a little bit so you can see, because I have used this, as well. I have a notebook actually in the car right now with me, that I got from Walmart. And typically, what I do is kind of funny because I will buy them towards the end of the year, and they will have like probably 3 to 6 months from last year and the whole year going into your new year and the year after for the planners from Walmart. So I typically buy them like that, and most of the time they have a 2-year planner. So if you're buying it towards the end of the year, you get the last 3 months and then the next 2 years going. And some of them are to the degree where it's even nicer, to where the pages are laminated, that you can keep re-putting the dates, erasing, and set your own dates, set your months, all within the calendar for 12 months. And they have this budgeting form, the same as this right here. Let's try to get it blowed up as far as I can. And just the typical norm, having your mortgage. And a lot of times I talk about this with a home warranty. Do your research on the home warranty that suits you the best, because honestly speaking, $100 a month. Like my friend, he stopped using it, but now he's seeing it as advantage, because the older his house is getting, the more things need to be changed out and fixed. So that's why typically getting these extended warranties for your home is a good option, but do your research. Find out what best fit and suits you, and go for it. But like Lisa was saying, getting into this, everybody has a home, or an apartment to that degree. You have all these where you're using this to actually run down your scale. You know, some people like the more advanced stuff, some people like the more, practical things where you can take your time and, you know, don't let the computer work for you. You work for yourself. So you have your electric bill, water bill, all these, phone bill, cable bill, internet, all these included. You have your transportation. Typically, I would add to this as well, for as transportation, besides your car note and gas and maintenance. What if you catch the bus? How much is your monthly or weekly charges for catching the bus? So you want to do that as well. Make sure you have all that stuff available at hand, because some people don't have cars, to the degree some people don't have license. So this would be a plus for people that don't have license, to actually have this going. you know. And another, far as insurance, and I just talked about that earlier about your health insurance, you know, preferably I will put insurance as life insurance in there as well. So typically, like I said, there's a lot of different, things you can change around when you have a paper, or like, in Kev's situation, to where you can do things as well, far as with your mint or whatever apps that you use. But it's whatever floats your boat, whatever's good for you. And typically, like I said, with that insurance, you will have your car insurance, you will have your health insurance, and you'll also have your life insurance. And typically ranging different policies that can best suit you. Like I said, the warranty for your house, that's another form, you can almost say as insurance. They have insurance for your vehicle. I mean, I'm sorry, for your home, to where if you pass before your home is paid off, that insurance would typically pay the house off um after passing. So they have that as one. Everybody to the degree knows about this, the credit card debts, and that's a big thing far as with your credit card debts. Everybody to a degree, frugal mama. All right. So everybody has a certain decor when it comes down to your credit card debts. Some of them, get paid off on time. Some of them don't. Some people run them up and then have issue with paying them later. So that's a thing. So we have to understand, knowing, using your credit cards with intent, using them with intent to pay back, using them with intent to actually schedule things, and knowing your payment structure, your payment skills, doing things the right way. And we're going down to the last one, which is your groceries, personal care, home items. Overall, when you go grocery shopping, when you typically, treat yourself or have a budget for your clothes and stuff every month. A lot of people typically don't have budget for clothes. So when you're budgeting, you got to typically have a somewhat of a number. So even if you don't spend every month, you could still have 5 or 10, maybe $20 set aside. And I always typically like to buy a lot at one time. Every now and then, if I see something on sale, I grab it, and it kind of messes up my budget a little bit, but it goes against my savings or either my house budget, to where I put a little extra $10 or $20 in just for this, so I won't have to, mess up my budget when doing this. So that's why I always use that as a way, of means. Hey, Lisa says she does it on her phone. Hey, typically, like I said, it's a lot of apps that people use. So, you know, not holding to one standard, because I mean, even with the Mint and all these other apps I just showed you earlier, they can calculate this stuff at lightning speed, but things, people make mistakes, things, or print it in, put in, implement it wrong. But by you implementing and keep checking over your stuff, you might have it to a degree where it's, just pretty good down the line, cut and dry, everything works. The biggest things about a lot of people is having an understanding that what works for you, you know, and gathering that, a lot of people fail to realize that when doing their budget, whatever works for you, that's for you. You know, if I want to do it like this, far as using the spreadsheet, this is my budget, it helps me. If I want to go back to the Mint app or any other app that helps me, that's my budget, that helps me. Okay, what's going on, man? And so typically we have issues with this off rip. My biggest thing is just starting. That's the whole thing, far as getting the information. Whether I do it on an app, whether I do it on a spreadsheet, whether, I talk to people, where I have a friendly thing, the whole thing is doing it first and foremost. You know, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't know, so then the process gets kind of shaky. So you actually have to start it to actually get things going. So let's move along to the next one, because the time is getting a little sensitive, but we still good. We still good. All right. So now let's go into the next one. Okay, what's going on? All right, present to you one more, and I think we're gonna kind of get out of here a little early. Let's see what I was going at then next. Did I have the other one? Okay, let's go with the pros and cons first. So that's what I think I'm gonna deal with next. Yeah. All right. So this is going forth with the pros and cons of owning homes. Typically, you know, this is the thing with people and buying a home. Over time, equity, you know, in buying a home is a big thing. A lot of people typically scared of home repairs. That's the biggest thing of buying a home. Not just going on this list right here, but typically the con of buying a home is the repair of the home. Over time, man, I might have to fix a roof. Over time, I have to get that hot water heater, AC unit. Man, this is gonna cost me this. This is gonna do this and this, man, blah blah, this and that. A lot of people are scared of buying homes for that reason. But you will stay in an apartment, give all this money to an apartment, or get a rental property and try to make the landlord, be at fault for all this stuff, which you can do all day because typically speaking, if you're not this handy person or don't even want to deal with it, then going this route may be the best way for you, especially if you have a little extra money. You don't have to worry about that. And over time, pretty much it is what it is. Hey, I'm just paying out. But typically, doing it this way, buying your home, it's a little more flexible because you're having a stable um, income coming in and you're able to pay just a straightforward um, mortgage every month for the next 30 years. Typically it will go up. See, a lot of times they don't let you know when the taxes go, there goes the insurance. I mean, when the taxes go up, that's when your money goes up for the house too as well. So that's always an issue with a lot of people not dealing with, buying a home. Your tax is going to go up, and once your taxes go up, it means the mortgage is going up as well. Your house is going to stay the same. The mortgage on the house is always going to remain the same. The insurance will go to a degree, the um the taxes, but that mortgage would always stay the same. And typically, it doesn't even go up by that much. I say 100 or 2, if that, maybe. But you got to know the rules and the way of the land, because a lot of times, let's say going into renting a property, you know, every year, where is it right here where it says every year, you're gonna pay a 3%, 3 to 5% increase on that property. So doing the numbers, just staying in the house typically long term, you're gonna start paying more. You know, you're actually gonna start paying more. So, that's like the do's and the don'ts where a lot of situations, and just like Kay was just saying, Kay, business talk, he basically just doing the run. There's a lot of times you stand in a facility to where you have a maintenance crew that comes out, and if they don't come out at a respectable time, guess what happens? This stuff gets dangerous. I was just looking at a plumbing show where the plumber had to cut the water off till Monday, and the client was upset about that. And the craziest thing about that is, you typically have issues because if the building don't want to cut the water off, somebody's liable for that. You know, if the building doesn't want to let you fix your stuff because it's gonna be a lot more done later, you're gonna be out of water. Typically small stuff that you can do yourself. Most of the time, people just do it themselves. For instance, my aunt, she stays in a apartment. Her toilet seat was shifting. She called the maintenance. They didn't fix the toilet. I went in and fixed the toilet. You know, I was like, go ahead and fix this toilet for her. Another issue she had, she was having like her cabinets and stuff like that, and she was getting these big water bugs, roaches, but we call them water bugs, the big ones, and throughout the apartment, and was trying to figure out what was going on with that. And basically, she was to the degree where she was like, well, what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna handle this. I went in, sprayed for her. She was like, these maintenance people crazy. They sprayed, and as soon as they sprayed, it went crazy. And went on ahead and sprayed for myself with this home defense. My cousin worked at Home Depot. He always talked about how home defense was good. I use it at my house. Sprayed her house with home defense, and lo and behold, they started dropping like flies. She had an issue by the water heater, and that's where they were coming in through the hole from the water heater, which was, going outside. They had some hole somewhere, and typically that's how they were coming in. And that's the thing. Staying in those apartments, you have to do, get to a point where do things yourself. I mean, it's at ease what you have an apartment. You don't have to typically deal with the maintenance. You typically, you know, it's cool to where if you don't like the place, you can easily move. When you're buying a house, if that's that's not the house you really want to stay in forever, you're kind of stuck there until you get the money up or move around or figure out a different place. A lot of times people want to stay within a certain place within a certain amount of time. Get some little equity in the house. Pay a little down so if you do move, you get back a little money. But let's get into this one real quick and showing also the ways that people are dealing with these homes when you buy your home versus renting. All right. You're going to do the mortgage calculator, basically just running down the numbers. If you pay $1,000 a month in 10 years, you'll be, I mean, look at the numbers 120. I had a friend, he just moved, he was at his spot for 9 years, and the guy sold a house. He, this is how much money he made off my friend. And I bet you that house was 80 to $100,000. So he paid the house off and then turned around and had enough money to sell and make a profit off of it, you know. And a lot of times we have these situations to where a lot of people typically don't understand, like, you know, the pros and cons. If I was to buy, take for instance that 30-year, 360,000. I mean, and the way rates are right now in Atlanta, on average, 2 to 3 bedroom is typically $1,800. So $1,800 within the first 10 years is 216. That's what we have. See, let me go back to that with K. See, that's the thing. When you're in an apartment, you would literally think that okay, the maintenance people are there, they're gonna do everything. It's not gonna be an issue. 50-50 on that. Some of these apartments, they make the money. They don't really put forth the effort to hire people. Same I told you with my aunt. She put in the work order. They went from having, when she first moved over there, four maintenance guys to only having one. And this one maintenance guy has to do everything for, what was it? It was, see how many she have on her floor. She has one, two, three, four, five, six. Six is 12, and 12 going into four, that's 48, and double that onto the other side. So she has three different sides of 48. Then she has the top units over there, and those are eight per. No, it's not eight per building. It's 16 per building. So, oof. That's close to like 200 units. See that sound step there. So basically, the guy I say around 180 to 200 units. One maintenance guy has to focus on 180 to 200 units. So that's a big thing. You know, hey, Kate, and that's the thing. Most of the times when you're in an apartment, you literally have to start off being like a maintenance guy because a lot of those people do not come. You know, issue with your door. Like you said, being fixed. If the door isn't put in properly, somebody kick in your door or something like that easily because the locks isn't on there. Not tighten on the other side. Excuse me. And just small issues. Now, bigger issues, I'll press them to get them in there. But a lot of times with the small issues, they won't come right away. So you have to focus on doing a lot of stuff. You know, even yeah, typically you'll have like this one guy. He was at this house for 28 years, and the guy I was just talking to my friend was about 2 3 weeks ago. This guy was at this house for 28 years, and you literally thought that this guy owned the house. And the guy called his friend. He's like, "Hey man, we gotta move, man." He's like, "What you mean you gotta move?" He said, "Man, the landlord selling the house." He said, "Man, I've been here for 28 years, man. It's a lot of stuff I done compiled in 28 years." And he's like, "Man, I don't know where to go." He ended up moving out to Lovejoy. Lovejoy is like a little sub area out the outskirts of Atlanta, and he found something pretty reasonable price down there. But it got to a point where, this guy was paying like close to I think it was 22 a month or more. And the guy was like, "Man, you paying all this money in this house. Why you didn't just go ahead and buy?" He was like, "Well, basically, I like the house so much. I like the area, and that's typically where you get a lot of people would, deal with your houses that way because of the area in which they like. They generally will sit here and go ahead and just stay in the area and pay the price. Because that was one of the things that I was telling people where when me looking for a house, I look for my kids and I look for the like me and my wife, we kind of work with the commute because of the school district, and end up moving back into the city due to the fact too because she didn't like the commute no more. The commute was getting too rough, over time. So we end up moving back into the city. I mean, that's true, Queen. When it comes down to it, that's a 4 bedroom for 19 is a decent deal on the outskirt. Now, once you get it inside the perimeter, a 4 bedroom is anywhere from 22 to 24 all day, you know. And hey, we got the scale right here. Let's go to 24. Scale it back out. Okay. At 24, the first 10 years is $288,000 within the first 10 years of a 24. 20 years for like literally that house probably cost around uh $432,000. And let's do a 30-year. If they stayed there for 30 years, that's $864,000. Look the number. $864,000. $864,000 for 30 years if you're paying $2,400 a month. DJ Music, what's going on? Salute to you, salute to you. And that's the point. A lot of times, man, we sit here, put so much money into these houses that we got, and most of the time, typically, most of these people don't even own these homes. That's why I'm like, if you're gonna invest in a home that's gonna make you some money, why not do yourself a favor and go ahead and look at buying the home, seeing what your options are, seeing what you qualify for. I would have put a scale up there as well for that. I typically talk about qualifying for homes. I typically tell people that if you don't think you approve, you approve. And I just got a jewel the other day looking at another influencer that was on Instagram. They were saying that you can buy a house with a 500 credit score through FHA, but you have to put down 10%. And see, that's the thing. Typically, for people not knowing the information, that's always the burden. Like, I can't afford it. My credit is low. Agents know how to get you in and get the results that you want. The point of it is, how are you willing to, actually get the job done? Because the agent can come in, I'm sorry, a broker, not an agent. Sorry about that. A broker can come in, see your situation, and be like, you make the money every month. Your credit is bad because you don't pay. Typically, we can pay certain things off and we can get you approved out the door, with 3.5 if you get a 580. But because your credit's so low, we can get you a house, but you'll have to put more on the down payment, you know, and the down payment of, um, 5%, 10% or whatever, that's not the same as your interest rate. See, a lot of people getting conflicted from the interest rate to all that. Like, you really got to know your numbers. You really got to do your work. You really got to put in, and check it out. When it comes out like Stone Mountain, it typically depends on the area, Stone Mountain, because you have some areas off of, let's see, South Harrison, that's still pretty reasonable in price. But then when you start going towards South Deshaun, that area is always going to be up. That's more of the up class of the black people that own homes out there by South Deshaun. So you will typically, because they have the lakes and stuff over there. Now, some of those communities do rather, kind of offer Rock Bridge, give a little reasonable prices. But other than that, you're gonna pay. I mean, especially the area now, since it's, a lot of people influence and really want to get out, get on the outskirts of the city. That area is actually booming real nice right now. Yeah, East Ponce as well. Downtown East Ponce is pretty decent. You going East Ponce to Clarkson? Believe it or not, I'm actually working with my friend. He just bought a condo over in Clarkson, which was an old townhome. They converted everything into well, I think it's townhomes. They were apartments and two-story apartments, and they converted them into townhomes. So those townhomes over there were running $700 this year alone. Since the beginning of the year, that gentrification kicked in, and now those townhomes over there are going for like $1,200. 1,200. And the guy I was talking to, he was like mad, like mad crazy. I'm talking about, you talking about $500 in one. He went from paying $700 to $500 extra, and he went crazy. Yeah, man. I mean, it's getting to that point, and a lot of times people are looking at, man, how are we gonna work through this? How are we gonna deal through this? Not by renting, not by renting. I mean, this is the key right here. Your rent rates, this is what you're doing. You're essentially paying. I mean, even upwards. Let's go all the way down to the end. $4,000 a month in the blue, and coming across the first 10 years. First 10 years of paying $4,000 a month. 480,000. Let's go all the way to the last right here. So that's 30 years. Let me make sure so y'all can see 30 years at the top, the last row within the 4,000, and we're gonna go all. Sorry about that. Gotta call people. All right. If y'all can hear me, throw a five in the chat. All these ones. Yeah. So, but basically, like I was saying, um, you have a go too far down. $4,000 a month going into a 30-year, which would be $1,440,000. $1,440,000. You know what type of house you can get, you know, with that type of money? That house right there is typically ranging, I would say about a $600,000 house. And with a six, I should just pull out the mortgage calculator, go to Zillow real quick and pull out a mortgage calculator. Because I mean, it's just crazy on the prices that people are paying for houses. I mean, technically, are you getting a deal or not? You know, and that's the judge of that. A lot of people, we looking at it as is this going to be the deal or is it a deal? If it's yes or no, and that's a lot of times where we lose because we're sitting up here dealing with just trying to save a little money, not paying this and not doing this, and typically that's how we lose out. That's how we end up, getting ourselves in deeper debt, more in trouble, you know, and who's helping us with this? Who's helping us with this situation? Who's getting us out of debt? Nobody. Typically on in, we'll have family members come and they'll help us to a degree, but for the most part, we're on our own. You know, yeah, just like you said, more bang for your buck. Buying a house, you typically get more bang for your buck, and that's where a lot of people lose out on that part because they will sit here and think that, well, well, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not this. It's not that. I might as well just go ahead and just rough it on out. And I might as well do it this way, do it that way. It takes a toll over time. You know, um, having a home for 15, 20 years, you put a lot into that home. So let me go ahead and share this last screen and we're going to go ahead and get out of here. But I mean, typically you put a lot into your home and especially with your renting, you're designing, you're trying to do certain things to that house. Pretty much over time, you're going to be astounded over someone has bought a home, stayed in it for 20 years, got the equity out, went and bought another home versus, me just renting for the rest of my life. And that's the biggest toll that it takes on a lot of us because we're looking at, man, like, how is this even a thing? All right, typically, all right, so we got it right there. That's 1,800 for 1,800 a month for a $300,000 house. All right, let's go ahead and let's boom it up like I said to six. Let's see what we dealing with that. Six, 20% down. Let's do 3.5. All right, let's do 30-year fix and interest in today's market. Let's do 7%. All right, all right, 7%. Let's see. Do I want to do six? Because it makes a difference. Let's go ahead and do 20% on this one because we want to get it close to 4,000 as possible. Oh, that's 30%. All right, that's 20% down, and let's do 15 because like I said, I want to try to get it close to 4,000 as possible so we can see the scale. All right, right there on the money, 14. All right. So basically, you're coming in with 84,000. The house is right here at 600,000. You're doing a 30. You're doing 7% interest rate. All right. And there goes the scale, shows you, over your monthly equivalent, what you're going to be doing, principal, interest, and all that. And lashes in the building. And let's go back to the breakdown. Let's see what else it has for us down here. Nope. Just giving you the type of rates and stuff and PMI, all that. Okay. So basically, getting in back into this over here. And what I always typically kept saying that your interest rate, far as, okay, let's go up to the scale at the top. PMI. PMI will fall off, and basically just your mortgage protection. So that's going to fall off once you hit that 20%. And a lot of people typically, they only got 6% to go far as for it to fall off. Once they hit that 120, it's going to fall off. So if it don't, you have to contact them, make sure, because they're going to get on. They're not going to sit here and help you with your money. You got to help yourself. All right. Insurance. Insurance is relatively cheap on this one at 105. Taxes 285, and this is monthly, right? Uh, Typically with the taxes. So you looking at, let's go at $300 for your taxes. 12, that's 3,600, for the year for your taxes. So a lot of people have to take this into play when buying your home and figuring out what are your options. Another thing that a lot of people don't understand that you really need above all else when you get in a home, that getting someone to come check that house out, getting an inspector. This house is a gold mine only if the house is worth it. If the house is not worth it because you got a hole in the floor, you don't want to pay that, get the homeowner to pay it. If the homeowner don't want to pay it, you have the option of, still buying the house and fixing it yourself or getting them to knock some money off. So this house could be 600, but because you need the floor did, you can come in and get the house for $20,000 less. And so that changes. Let's say that the roof needs to be done. And since this is a big house, it's dropped down to 510. And everything changes. See? So typically getting that inspector, it helps you drop everything down, helps you get a better understanding of your money. So like I said, just getting the knowledge. I'm gonna go back over these real quick, real fast in a hurry. We're gonna get out of here because I got to go. All right. So basically having an understanding, if you're gonna get into it, I talked about this. Getting long-term care. If you're single, you know, and not ready to mingle, you just want to be to yourself, long-term care is a good option. Long-term care can help you, as far as financially, um, medical wise, having someone to come in and sit in and talk with you. That's the main thing with a lot of elderly people. They're just lonely. They need someone to talk to. Family and friends are moving in with their busy lives. A lot of these people get paid to come and socialize and deal with the elderly if the families are not there. So that's a plus. You know, Getting back into it with the insurance. I talked about this with the insurance about us having different type of life insurance and go over this real quick. All right. Uh Term, back up. Term life insurance, short lived. Hey, if you don't pass, you don't get the full benefit. If you do pass, then you gotta rationalize this. Alonzo, what are you doing over here? Hey man, I'm over here at CG Wealth Solution and you popping up. What's going on? What's up with that? But over time, like I'm saying, your term life. Dealing with your term, hey, it's up to you by any means. You get a term, short lived, you're not getting the payout. You do pass, hooray, your family gets the money. You know, you're pushing the part of generational wealth. You know, permanent, self-explanatory. Like I typically say, a lot of people do term to perm, which a lot of people call permanent life, whole life, and term to perm, where you take your term, it's about to get ready to go out, you convert it to a whole life, and then it's almost like stacking and trying to reinvent the wheel and stuff like that. So, terms of anything, contact Alonzo if you need more information, or go to his YouTube page, and Alonzo will have all the information. Or better yet, like I said, go to CG Wealth Solution right here. And more or less going down to the last one, Universal. I spoke on this one a little bit. Having an understanding about universal life insurance is the big difference, And Alonzo talk about this as being the creme de la creme, being the Mercedes, the E class, if you're gonna go with it, of the life insurance game. And there's more to be, but you got to do the homework. You got to be there to, not be square, as they say, and get yourself in the know. So, getting out of that one, we focus again on the talks of, money and things of that nature, budgeting, and, we went into this one briefly about if you were to get on the internet or if you were to use your apps, these are the good apps. I talked about Mint because that's the one I use. Mint is a good app to actually put you in a situation to be informed about your spending habits, about your money, the way how you finance, the way how you do things, how things are being paid off, what is your scale of structure, how much money you're spending every month, set limits. On this app, you can set limits on how much you spend, and it sends alerts to your phone, sends alerts to your email that say, hey, you spending too much money when you go out to eat. Hey, you spending too much money on gas this month. Maybe you need to take the short route. Maybe you need to cut back and things of that nature. All right, and we're gonna go into the other one that we had, which was which was it? The printable. Okay, and let's say you want to use this form of budgeting. They have apps for this as well, but most of the time people like to print it out because they want to have that paperwork to where they can do things as well. So you have that as a key of directory to say, well, this is my mortgage for this month. This is my money for repairs. This is my money that I set aside that I pay this company. Your home warranty, all my bills every month, phone, light bill, internet, all that is on this sheet. All is in the app if you have it. Prefer whatever floats your boat, whatever helps you, as long as you get the job done, as long as you're learning and the process is elevating you mentally, that's the thing. Insurance. I said about that. As far as going back to the car transportation, let's go ahead and put if you catch the bus, how much is your bus pass every month? That's the thing. People do catch buses. People say, well, I don't want to spend all this money, or I don't want to drive my car. I don't have a car. I don't have license. Then catching public transportation is an option. Count how many times you use Uber, Lyft, or whatever form of transportation besides the bus if you don't have license. And another one as well, your insurance. We talked about the car insurance, your health insurance. Also adding life insurance to this, your debt, all your credit card debt. It might not be just a credit card debt. You might have student loan debts, other debts that you have, put those debt payments on there. Housing in general, self-explanatory, speaks for itself. Everything that you got to pay for is from groceries, clothes, everything, cleaning supplies, all that. You want to budget that out every month so you can have the money. And then, which I didn't see on here, as far as savings, having a point to where you have enough money set aside to where you can have a savings. And a lot of people typically that YOLO life, it works when you're young. You only live once. But the point of it is, while you're living, you have to maintain life. So those are the things that you have to keep doing. and that is a savings coming in hand. And another thing, we focus on the housing market, which we just did. So I'm just gonna with the housing. It's kind of tricky. Like I said, to me, the best time to buy a house is now. So generally speaking, people say, well, when is the best time? The best time is now. Ain't nothing like the present time in getting a house and getting yourself situated. You know, a lot of times we fall short because we sit here and think that, well, over time things are gonna change, things of this, things of that. Nah, the best time to buy a house is now. Do your research. Figure out what are your options. How much money can you put down? What are the pros and cons of buying a house versus renting? In my opinion, over time, a house, the equity, the inflation, your house is gonna grow with you. You're spending more money into your house, you're getting more money out. Only time your house is gonna be a negative, just like it says right here, you could lose value, is when your house depreciated because of the community or the area that you're in. Typically speaking, you know, it's gonna devalue when there's so much crime. A lot of people don't like gentrification, but the point with gentrification, sometimes it's a part of growth. Gentrification actually breaks down, communities and stuff like that. But to a degree, it promotes the growth as well because when it comes down to it, typically a lot of times the people who have these homes are not taking care of them. People are coming in buying at a high rate. Don't you know most of the time when you have elderly people staying in communities and you have companies come in and build these new homes, they're running these elder people out because they can't afford the tax once a new house is being put in that area because they have to rationalize the taxes with the new house that's being built. So typically you have this back and forth to where how this elderly person going to survive in this area. If they can't stay or don't want to stay with a family member, they typically have to go into an apartment or go into a nursing home. So you got to have money for that. So with all that being said, a lot of times, man, you really have to do the work. You really have to put in the work. Like I said, if you're single, if you're married, long term care is a good thing for you. Having that life insurance for your family, promoting generational wealth by owning a home, and typically having life insurance is a key. Those are the only two, in my opinion, starting off that can get you on the right point. Passive income, dealing with your dealing with investment properties where you can set it and forget it, things of that nature, stocks, typically crypto, whatever you have that's passive that you put it in there and just looking in the next couple of years on the turnaround because it's not affecting your overall line, that's a good thing. But just starting off, the minimum, bare bones, getting you life insurance and investing in a home is the key, you know because when we did the numbers on the when we did the numbers on the apartment, we sit here and found out that we're actually paying into this place at an alarming rate. And a lot of times we don't look at that until it's too late. And this is the last screen, and I'm gonna be done with this, y'all. Because a lot of times we typically don't look at it, like I said, until it's too late. And this one right here, being a renter, putting all this money into the home and seeing like literally we're putting all this money steady constantly putting the money into the home, putting money into the home. Oh, the drawing, I got it from what is it called, uh it's I something generator. I mean, okay, it's AI generator art. So it's an app and you pay for that. And I got several others that I can put up that's pretty nice um overall. But yeah, but like I said, getting into these houses, You're paying this rent. $1,000 within 30 years, you paid 360. We talked about how you got that house where you paying $4,000 a month. That's a $600,000 house. So within 15 years, you'll be done almost paid that house off. But if you do a 30 year at 4,000, 30 year going to the last column, that's 1.440 in money. Like that's how much money you're actually putting into these homes when you're sitting up here renting. So why not buy? At $4,000, we showed if you buy a house for 600,000, you put down 14%, which is $84,000, 7% interest rate. You're going to be paying. I think we got it at $4,070 a month, compared to renting this home, which is 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. you know. So do the math. I mean, overall, the value of that house is going to go up as well. Within the next 10 years, if you were spending $4,000 on that home within the next 10 years, it's going to go up. It's going to go up. The value of that house, my house I have now went up 60, now it's up 80,000. The last time I checked, it's up 80,000 now. I bought the house 3 years ago. It's already up 80,000 from which I bought it. And someone showed me another scale, which I gotta look into that one. But to be honest, from the scale in which he showed me, because he has some type of deed program, that house is double. My house is double. So, like I say, just knowing your options, knowing what you're dealing with. I'm about to get off of here because I'm about to go wild out. About to either jump on some more lives and have a good time. But overall, hey, doing the homework. And until next time, you know what I always say? We here and we gone.